Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for checking out my guide today. I'm going to be starting my build series today. So the first episode in the series is going to be what we're doing right now, which is going to be the beginner and budget-friendly build. For this guide, at the time of recording, prices will be around 150k rubles or less. Some things may be more, some things may be less. It just depends on flea market and if you're playing PvE or PvP. However, this does not include backpacks because backpacks are something that are very subjective, and a lot of the times you're going to get backpacks and raid, so I kind of don't factor that into the cost since I feel like armor and weapons are more important than backpacks. Same thing with healing items because problem with healing items is you don't have a lot of options from the beginning. You're also going to get a lot of stuff in raids, so I kind of left that out, but keep in mind that for the basis of the build being armor and guns, this is going to be 150k or less. This is not going to be meta builds. This is not going to be the best build. This is going to be what I think is good for beginners coming from experience, what's very easy to pick up and learn, and what's going to give you the best bang for your buck as far as, especially later in life with PvP, being able to take down some of those bigger enemies, the Chads, that you know you're going to have difficulty killing in the first place, but some of these guns are going to be able to take them out a little bit quicker than others. So before we get into the guide, I'd like to take a moment to thank everybody for my Lighthouse video. It's been doing phenomenal. I honestly didn't expect it to do as good as it did, especially being my first video, and it was very rough. I still have a lot of refining to do. Anybody that watched it and those that left any tips, I really do appreciate it. You know, this has been kind of a side hobby that I've wanted to do for a long time, and it's kind of nerve-wracking, but slowly getting the hang of it, and any feedback and criticism, even if it's negative, I appreciate because it helps me grow. So, getting into the guide, let's start off with our SMG. So, this is going to be standard for 3 out of the 4 builds, and I'll kind of explain in depth why. So, your headset is a very important thing. You don't want to cheap out on headsets because being able to hear enemies is a huge part of Tarkov. So, this is only about 20k. Um, you can see they're going to fluctuate in price. So they were 22 when I bought them. They're down to 18. So that's why this is going to be around 150k or less. 6B47, the reason why is yes, it's only a class 3, but it has ear protection. Ear protection is a huge thing in Tarkov that until you get into the way later game or you get a ULAC, you're not going to have ear protection, and it's a lot more important than you think. The chest rig. I chose to go with an armored chest rig because it cuts down on cost. So yes, it doesn't have a lot of slots, but realistically, you should be running 2 to 3 mags. I usually run 4 in PvE, but that's also because I don't have a group or anything. So this is more than sufficient for what you're going to use it for. The reason why I went with this one is because it's class 4 to the chest, back, and groin. That is very important, having as high of a class as you can get for obvious reasons, and it also has neck protection, which is something that is very overlooked because yes, it's only class 2, but this will stop buckshot, so it'll stop scav shotguns and things of that nature. The SMG is pretty bare bones. This is just because the Uzi is a very low recoil gun to begin with, so there's not much that you need to put on here. Basically, all you have to do is put a sight mount on it and a PKO6. The reason why I went with PKO6 is it's the cheapest option. That's plain and simple. It's the cheapest option. The Uzi does shoot 9x19, so you have some pretty good options when it comes to ammo from early game. Most of the stuff is viable on fleas, so you can see if you want rip ammo, it's about 422 a round, so that's going to cost you about 12k mag, depending on what size you run. This is great for Tagilla farming because he's very, like, rip ammo just shreds through him. AP63 is what I would recommend. So you can see it's going for about $4 a round, so about 600 a round, but this is class 3 pen. So it's gonna be your best bet. M882 is another decent option. You can see that it's only class 2 pen, but it does do a lot of damage, so I recommend just going for it and getting AP63 or RIP depending on your situation. Um, but yeah, that pretty much sums up the Uzi build. Like I said, it's a pretty bare bones gun. There's not much that needs to be done to it just because of the low recoil. You just want an optic on it so you have a better sight picture. Like I said, armor is going to be pretty much the same for majority of the video. Um, So yeah, I mean that's going to be our SMG build. Next up is going to be our shotgun build. So the SMG I kind of recommend factory. Reserve is another good one once you get down into the tunnels. If you guys are ratting, SMGs are really good. You can go with the Keter or something like that. I prefer the Uzi just because the Uzi has been a meta early wipe gun this raid. So you know, I just prefer the Uzi. That's me. Like I said, this guide isn't meta. It's what I prefer and from experience. So shotguns, I would really only recommend running on factory. Honestly, I mean you can run them on other maps if you're running slugs, but realistically, this is going to be a factory shotgun. So you know, if you're going to guerrilla farming or if you're just trying to go in there and get a nice kit, this is what I would run. So it's a pretty bare bones Sega. The only thing that's going to be changed is the Tango Down Battle Grip. Reason why is because the Tango Down Battle Grip, if I can get some space here, the Tango Down Battle Grip adds plus 12 ergo, and it is extremely cheap. You can see they're 8K right now from Skier if you have the barter unlocked. If not, still 15K is really cheap with plus 12 ergo. And with shotguns, you can see how low the ergos would have been. So get, you know, just buy a grip. Reflex sight, again, sight picture. You want to have as clean and clear a sight picture. This is just the cheapest one that I could find. It's the only reason why I'm running it. The GKO2 muzzle brake, very cheap muzzle brake, minus 10 recoil, and it's only minus 1 ergo. So with the Sega, because it's semi-auto, that recoil is going to really kill you if you don't have as low recoil as you can get. For the price, this is about as good as you're going to get it. You could do a couple things like change up the stock and maybe put a foregrip on there, but you know, this is with the armor and stuff included. This is pretty much going to be as cheap as you can get it. Next up, we got our AK. So these last two guns are going to be the biggest ones that I would recommend because 7.62x39 got a buff this wipe, and 7.62x54R is just good in general. Sorry about that. Um, so 7.62x39 got a buff this wipe. 7.62x54R has been good. So these last two are going to be the ones that I would recommend. On top of that, and being an AR, it's it's good for almost any map. So you're not going to have any magnification, but you're going to have the stopping power of 7.62x39 as well as a pretty decent AK build for the price. So let's get into the AK build. Same thing, helmet, chest rig, and headset stays the same for all three of these. There might be a better option out there, but for what I could find at the time, this is going to be the best bang for your buck. So getting into the AK, we didn't do a lot to this. We did change the muzzle brake. This is minus 8 recoil, minus 3 ergo, and right now they're going for dirt cheap. So the reason why I got it is because they were dirt cheap. Same thing, dovetail mount. You're just going to get the cheapest reflex that you can find. And the only other thing was a Tango Down Battle Grip. So it's pretty similar to the Sega in the sense of Tango Down, cheap muzzle brake, and cheapest reflex. You know, ammo is kind of up to you guys. There's a lot more options with 7.62x39, whether or not you want to spend a little bit more and get high pen ammo, or if you want to get some lower pen ammo and you're pretty good with headshots, you can do that as well. But for the most part, this gun, if you can dump 20-30K rate into ammo, you can take out some pretty big enemies with this. You know, class 4 ammo, I think PP ammo is going for about 2,000 rounds, so it's kind of pricey. If you run this on single shot, honestly, being 7.62x39, you can run this on single shot and not have an issue. It's not like the Uzi where it has to be full auto. And that's kind of what I do early wipe is if I'm going in with a super budget build, I'll put it on single shot. Conserve ammo, conserve money. So then we get to the final weapon of this video, and this is going to be the only difference when it comes to gear. And sorry about the messy stash. I know I need to go through it and kind of get some stuff figured out, but I was trying to get this video out, and yeah, the stash just didn't get quite organized how I had wanted it to, but that's fine. You know, we'll get it worked out. So same concept. You're going to be running the razors. Need headsets. Just run them. Spend the extra 20K. It'll save you numerous times. Now, the two biggest differences, the helmet. So this helmet is a class 3. The biggest thing, it does not have ear protection, but it's a little bit cheaper, and I needed to do that to cut down on the cost, keep it under 150K. If you want to spend a little bit more, you can go back up to the 6V47. You want a helmet that allows you to run headsets as well, because that's the most important thing. Helmets are extremely important. Headsets are extremely important. You need both of them. The tack rig. So this tack rig was a little bit more, and it's only class 3, doesn't have neck protection, doesn't have groin protection. The biggest thing is this allows you to put plates in as well, and as you can see, the tack rig size is a lot bigger. The reason why I chose to do this is because when you're sniping, you're not most of the time going to be running and gunning, so you're gonna have the ability to have a smaller backpack and a bigger tack rig is usually what I do if I'm sniping, because I'm not going in there looking for loot most of the time. Or if I am, if I kill a PMC, he's gonna have a bigger bag that I can swap out with. So being able to keep everything in your tack rig, honestly, you could probably even go into raid without a backpack if you have a sniper. So the SVD, this is gonna be what I would recommend for pretty much anybody that doesn't want to run and gun. It's usable on almost any map, obviously with the exception of factory. You can run it on there. You might need to change some things up, and smaller maps like labs. But bigger maps such as woods, customs, interchange, kind of interchange, depends on where you're at, but interchange, lighthouse, those sort of things, this gun excels. The reason why is because of the caliber. So don't cheap out. Get LPS ammo. It's like 2,000 a round, but LPS ammo is class 4 pen, and it does a lot of damage. So you can see kind of your options here, and LPS is going to be your best option. So it's 2,000 a round, but it's 81 damage, 42 pen. So it'll 1 to 2 shot PMCs to the thorax, which is huge. You know, you're spending 20K a mag if you have the 10 rounders. If you have the 20 rounders, it's more. But just don't cheap out, get LPS. It's a little bit extra, but it will pay off in the long run. So for attachments on here, we didn't change a lot. It's pretty stock. Again, you know, you can kind of mess with this a little bit, but the two things that I did put on there is obviously your dovetail mount, and you need an optic because it's a sniper. I couldn't find a variable optic for cheap enough, so we went with the Trihawk Prism 3X. It's a really nice sight picture for as cheap as it is. So I'll give you guys an example real quick of this sight picture, kind of get an idea. But you can see it's got a nice sight picture, and 3X to me is perfect. That's honestly what I run my Voodoos and my Razors and my Tango 6Ts at most of the time anyways. 1X feels a little bit too close range, 6X is way too zoomed in, so I usually run it at about 3 to 4X, sometimes down to 2, but most of the time it's 3 to 4X. So this is perfectly in the middle. Again, it's a budget build, so you can't be too picky on your variation in optics and that type of stuff. This is basically just to get your foot in the door so that you can go in, have a good loot run. You can pair this up with some of the guides that I've done on loot running, and you know that's what I did early game, and it paid off. So the kind of the pros and the cons of each of these have been already outlined. Obviously, SMG, shotgun, you're not going to want to do big maps, or if you do bigger maps, stick to close quarters areas. AK and SVD. AK you can run on close range maps. The ergo is going to be pretty low just because it's an AK and it doesn't have a lot done to it. The SVD I wouldn't recommend unless you absolutely have to. Don't run on close range maps. If you do, play very slow. Don't try and push anything. And your odds are going to be a lot better. So I mean that's pretty much it for the guide in itself. I just want to again say thank you for watching this guide and all my other guides. Next video in the build series, like I said, is going to be outlining the mid-level builds. I'll try and get those out as quick as possible, but I kind of need to find a price point, and I think I'm going to wait a little bit to see what you guys think. So please leave a comment on what you think a fair mid-range price point is, because for me, it could be more, it could be less than what you guys think. If you have any tips or criticism about the video, please leave them in the comments. Like I said, I'm still, pretty new to this and trying to improve in any little way that I can, and the comments on the last video helped out with a lot of stuff. The support so far has been incredible, though. my lighthouse guide did a lot better than I thought that it ever would, and I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to see more Tarkov guides from me, please be sure to like and subscribe. Like I said, I don't have an upload schedule, but I'll try and get videos out as quickly as people want them, and trying to slowly improve. But I'll be posting more in the near future. I might have one or two more out today. I can't say for sure, but in this upcoming week, I should have a couple more published. If you're interested in some of those loot routes that I talked about that you guys haven't seen, or just watching an uncut full raid gameplay, I have those listed on my channel. I do have a playlist of my loot run guides already made. This is going to go into a different playlist for builds. And yeah, I think other than that, that's about it for this video. Again, appreciate it, and I will go ahead and see you guys in the next one.